welcome to the Cue the Duck Boats podcast. Jack, Ahcan, how you doing today?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good, definitely good. Before we get going, I have to ask you this. You got to give us the backstory on your Twitter handle. You have to have the best Twitter in all of pro hockey. It's Little
Yeah,
Uzi Ahcan. Like we got to get the backstory. You have to
yeah.
if you're right with it.
No, it's good. It's nothing too crazy. We were in college. Ryan Paling, he plays with the Penguins now. He
Yep.
was on my college team, and his two brothers, who I lived with, and we were all just kind of sitting there on the bus or something, and we were listening to one of Lil Uzi's songs, and we all had like our idea that we're gonna change our Twitter name to Lil Uzi something, and I just did Lil Uzi Akon because that's what they called me in college. So they all have theirs too. I think it's like Lil Uzi Pails or something like that. So it's kind of funny.
That's great. I absolutely love that. I mean, it was just like I was just going through everything, and I had saw that was like your Twitter name before, and I was like, we have to ask this because there has to be like some sort of story. That's
Yeah,
definitely a good
yeah.
one. I love that you stuck with it. Has anyone like given you any shit in like the locker room or anything for it? You have to like explain it or no?
No, not in the locker room. But there's been times like somebody will be like, "What is this Twitter name?" And I'm like, "I didn't even go on Twitter really, so it doesn't really
Yeah,
matter to me." But
yeah.
hopefully, hopefully it doesn't piss anybody off too bad because I don't really care.
No, I mean, I don't think it would be bad. It's not like, I mean, I guess my own story. Akon was my first concert as a kid. In like fifth grade, my mom took me to see Akon, which I think is absolutely wild now that I look back on it. I'm like, dude, he took me to see Akon in fifth grade.
Yeah.
Like, it's so wild. I
Oh, I
remember,
was
like,
I was a huge Akon fan too
me
back
too,
in the
me
day.
too. I went and saw Akon and Gwen Stefani on like Smack That tour. We're
Yeah.
like fifth grade singing Smack That with my mom next to me. And I look back at it
Right.
now, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I
Yeah.
can't
Don't even
believe
know what
that
you're
was me.
saying.
But yeah, exactly. But now you know, and now you get to laugh about it.
Right. Yeah.
Nice. Connor, I'll let you start. You got some questions for Jack?
Yeah. So I was going to start with the early career, but since he already talked about where he lived in college, I was reaching out to somebody who apparently knows you to some degree, and they told me to ask you about the chum bucket.
Oh yeah.
What's the chum bucket all about?
Um, so I was in college at St. Cloud State. We had a house there for 3 years on campus, and we were just kind of trying to name it something. The outside kind of looked a little bit, shady, like every other college house is on campus, but the inside was super nice, like brand new, renovated. So we just kind of went around and we were trying to figure out a name for it, and somebody said Chum Bucket, and now it's just kind of the Chum for short. So
The
that was
chum.
our college house, yeah.
So was it SpongeBob inspired then?
I mean, it had to be. I don't
A
really
little
know.
bit, right?
Yeah, yeah. But my youngest brother is there right now, and it's still called the Chum, so that's good to know.
Does he live there?
He's a freshman in the dorms right
Oh,
now,
so not
so
yet.
maybe next
Not
year he
yet.
might
Yeah.
get the opportunity.
It's crazy. I mean, like it was like the first like house you have with your friends, like you always remember it. Like for me, it's like we named ours and that lives forever in our heads. Our group chat's still called that. So
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
that
It's
definitely
kind
lives
of funny
forever.
looking back at stuff like that. It's like I don't even really know how it came up, but
Yeah.
it stuck.
You look back at it now with wide eyes and you're like, that was a
Yeah,
good one.
yeah. Right.
All right, so I guess I'll get right into your early career. So, what was your inspiration for playing hockey growing up?
Yeah. So my dad played growing up. He's from northern Minnesota. He played D3 hockey at Gustavus. It's in Minnesota. And just pretty much ever since I was a kid, he would make a rink in our backyard and be skating around the parks in Minnesota, where it's cold enough to pretty much skate anywhere, especially these days. So I kind of just started there and fell in love with the game. And like I mentioned, I have two younger brothers, and they're always fun to play shinny hockey with or whatever. So it was kind of just from the get go, it was all hockey, and in the summer I would play baseball and golf and whatnot. But first love was always hockey, and kind of got to credit my parents for that one.
Definitely.
Jake,
Actually, you just
Jake's a
took
big golf guy,
yeah,
so
you took
Oh,
my
oh,
you
nice.
took my next question off the list. I was gonna ask if you played any other sports growing up, but
Yeah,
I
we
mean
actually just hit
that's
the simulator today. We went and swung a little bit.
where
Some of
over
the
in
guys
Cranston? Which one? Cranston, Lincoln?
at Lincoln. Yeah, Lincoln.
The X golf one?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, that one's nice. I've done that, and then I just actually my dad and we like bought a sky track, and we're setting up like that kind of setup in our garage, in his garage, not mine. But
Oh, no way. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's sick. We're working on that. head over there after work sometimes to help with that. But it's absolutely sick. But yeah, I've been to that one, and the one in Cranston's pretty good too. But that one's better for sure.
Yeah, I heard that this one was a little bit better. I haven't been to the
Yeah,
Cranston one,
yeah,
but
it's nicer for sure.
yeah, so that
There'll
was
be a
kind of
Top
fun.
Golf by like next year. There'll be a Top Golf in Cranston, hopefully.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I
they're
didn't
putting in
know
a
that.
brand new Top Golf over in Garden City. I'm the only Rhode Islander here out of
Yeah.
these two. So yeah, but yeah, no, that's definitely sick. But I guess who was your favorite player growing up in Minnesota? Like, I mean, I guess hockey's such like a rich culture there, so I'm sure it was someone who played for the Wild, maybe. Or
Yeah, it was Marion Gabrick when I was growing up. Just kind of early days. One of the Wild one. I don't even know when they came in, but like growing up watching him, and once I started getting to know hockey a little bit better, I was a big Patrick Kane fan. I got a jersey for Christmas and all this stuff, and but between those two guys, I think Marion Gabrick was my first kind of. I was a big fan of his.
Now, did you model your game after Gabrick, or was there somebody, on the defensive side of the puck that you more kind of gravitated towards?
So I was a forward up until like must have been like 16, kind of going back and forth, 16, 17, in high school, and I kind of just always was like a huge Patrick Kane fan. And then you start to like people ask you who do you kind of try to resemble your game after, and you don't really have an answer for that because you don't really know. And um, just watching undersized defenseman like Spurgeon was on the Wild, so I got to kind of watch him. Not necessarily tried to resemble my game after him. Getting to watch Grizzlick and Krug on the Bruins, two kind of similar statures. Both play hard, so it's just kind of when I made the transition to forward and or D or forward to D, it was more so trying to pick out, how I was gonna want to play my game, and here we are. So it's kind of a full circle thing with that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel like you obviously get those natural comparisons to Krug and Grizzly just playing for the Bruins organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely could see that. I mean, how could you not want to model your game after Gabrick or Kane, though, right? Like, even
Right.
like it's
Yeah.
just, I mean, hey, if you could be Patrick Kane and play defense, it really doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah. No, exactly. Just put you out on the ice.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, with that transition from forward to defense, what was probably the most difficult adjustment to make in that transition?
That's a good question. I think I've always been like a pretty good skater. Trying to, I think learning how to skate backwards, like actually defend and skating backwards more. Obviously, forwards don't skate backwards as much as defensemen, but just getting used to, not back in when I was coming up, it was all about like no crossing over backward. You take one crossover, then you come through C cuts and whatnot. So that was something I kind of struggled with right out of the gate. And then it was all about positioning, and get to USHL and college positioning, and defending. It's a lot different for my height. It's not all you can skate as fast as you want, but when it comes down to the corners and stuff, you got to have good body control and stick positioning and stuff like that. So it kind of just the levels kind of grow and grow as you keep going up and up through the hockey levels. But those were a few things that you try to focus on.
So going off that a little, so like when did you know you had a chance to like play D1 hockey and more?
Yeah, I think I was starting to get like some letters in the mail, probably my junior year of high school, sophomore maybe sophomore junior year of high school, and I still was playing baseball and switching back hockey and baseball, and I love both sports. But once I kind of went into the USHL and had like a full season there, I committed to St. Cloud before, but you never really know what you're going to get yourself into when you commit to a college, if you're even going to end up going there these days. But I think once I went through a full year of Cedar Rapids in the USHL, I kind of had some more confidence in myself that I could, do it. And then you get there, and it's another learning curve. You got to fit in. You're going to school. You're, playing against older guys. So it was, I'd say, probably, yeah, USHL.
Awesome. What made you choose to go to St. Cloud State? Was that was that a school you always wanted to go to, just growing up kind of in that area, or just what like made you, I guess, pick there?
There's a few things. I have a few family members that went there, cousins and uncles and stuff. But going through talking to coaches in schools. I didn't have many. My first one was Mankato, and I fell in love with it, and I was like, I want to go here, and I probably would have ended up going there. They gave me like a week to decide, and I was talking to my dad, and I didn't have an agent at the time or advisor or anything. My dad was like, just wait. You'll get more calls. We'll see what happens. So I was kind of set on Mankato, and then went to a visit to St. Cloud, and I loved that even more. I was like, oh, what do I do here? Like, I love Mankato. I really love St. Cloud. Um, so I ended up having to give the Mankato guy a call and, telling him I'm not going to be doing this, and I committed to St. Cloud a few days later. I just you do, like they say that when you go and visit, and I felt like I did, but I also felt like I knew when I went to Mankato, so it was kind of tough.
Now, you spent 4 seasons at St. Cloud. What are, some of your favorite or most memorable memories out of those seasons?
Well, the relationships the culture that St. Cloud has, it's really nice. There's a lot of Minnesota guys that you grew up playing against. My roommates in college, I hated their guts in high school. Ended up living with them for all 4 years of college, and they're my best friends to this day. So that changes a little bit, but we had some really good teams. We won some Penrose, like your league championship or whatever. Never quite got to the tournament. We'd always lose that first game, which is tough. But there's so many memories playing at home on a Saturday night, big win against Denver. One of the weekends, the place was rocking, and we swept them or something. There's like little moments like that. You look back and you just remember that feeling that you had. You were so pumped up.
Yeah, so you did 4 years, as Connor said. How was it being named team captain that senior year and starting to feel like the NHL buzz, like with your name being thrown around and all that?
Yeah, that was it was something that I've never been a captain of a team before in college. It's quite the honor. Seeing the captains before me, Jimmy Schultz was a captain for, I think he was a sophomore because he was a 3-year captain, and then I came in after him and was voted captain by all the guys. And I never really saw myself as that kind of leader. And I was doing a little bit of learning myself that I think helped me mature, like my game both on and off the ice to get to that pro level that it takes to grind every day once you get out of the college lifestyle. So that really helped me personally, and it was an honor that they wanted me there. And I think it really got me set. And like you said, like the buzz with all the NHL stuff, it kind of helped me focus more on like I have a team to take care of instead of leaving these guys in the next year. You didn't really have my mind on that at all.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it is such an honor. Kind of backpack off honors. 2016, 2017. I mean, that was a good year for you. You go to World Juniors, right? And then right, 2016, 2017, it was your freshman year, and then you go to World Juniors, and you won gold then. So, like, that had to be ridiculous. That team's ridiculous. If you look at, like, the players who are on that team, I, like, looked through the roster, and I remember watching you guys win gold. Like, I remember being a kid and being so excited, right? And then this is McAvoy, Keller, Tage Thompson, Fox, Terry. There's one of the best, I think, World Junior Team USA teams in the last 10 years.
Yeah, that's another kind of pinch myself moment.
Like, ridiculous team.
Like you get nominated to go to camp, and that's a big deal. And I never did any, like I did some US national camps, like 15, 16, 17, and that stuff, but never anything after that. And going to camp and making that team, you're like, oh, you're on the highest of highs, and then you're in there playing. And I mean, I knew Charlie a little bit, McAvoy, but like I'm on his team, and I was looking up to him at that point. We're the same age. Like it's kind of fun. Then we go into battle together, and we end up winning gold medals together. And we had an awesome team, built great friendships. But it definitely was a pinch yourself moment. And I just never. If you would have told me that would have happened to me, I probably would have never believed you. But I worked hard, and everything worked out to the fullest, and that was amazing.
You say that, but it's funny, right? And just to kind of piggyback off the comment of like you guys were the same age and you're like looking up to him. I mean, I'm 26 and I watch all you guys and I'm like cheering for you guys on TV and I'm like, we're like the same age. It's kind of is funny to me. Like it is like I was always like, right, growing up. I mean, I guess you're in the same boat now because you're playing with guys. You're gonna play with guys who you cheered for your whole life. So we'll get into that, but it is like it's full circle and it's kind of weird at the same time. But like you find yourself, it's normal, right? Once you get to that age,
and you got to like snap out of it. You're just like, what am I doing? But it's in you. It's in you definitely, and snap out of it and your teammates.
Exactly.
Now with that gold medal, what was probably your favorite memory out of that whole experience outside of having your same coach with you and getting to share that experience as well?
I think just like the whole process leading up to, the gold medal game, and the outcome ended in our favor, which was great. Like obviously it's awesome, but just the whole process we had so many people in the organization, USA Hockey. We brought in different people, team building, like little things like that, because you're bringing a bunch of random, like a lot of the guys, they play on NTDP together and they know each other, but there's a good group of guys that are sprinkled in there, like myself and a few others that we don't know these guys, and their inside jokes that they have and stuff like that. So it's kind of a whole process of molding a lot of the same team together, and then new guys coming in. And I think there was nobody was left behind on that team, and they did a really good job at throughout the whole camp, throughout the whole tournament, going from Toronto to Montreal. Like everything was great and it was awesome. And then ended up winning the gold medal together. You look back and at all the effort that they put into it for us to do that. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's awesome. You can only imagine the feeling winning gold and just getting that and everything.
Yeah, that was insane. You're just numb pretty much. It was crazy.
So I'm going to switch over to your pro career now. So what made you sign with the Boston Bruins?
Yeah, so after it was the COVID season, first COVID season in college, we ended, our season just ended, so it was kind of like, oh, now it's time to start talking to some teams, and I had a good amount of teams on the list, and just talking to them, asking questions, seeing what there's some PowerPoints and stuff like that they're looking at, like their development and rosters and stuff like that, and I just feel like from the moment I talked to Boston and Sweens, they're really loyal and like honest, which is a big part, because you have a little feeling of what you think an organization is and all that, but there's so many things going on behind the scenes, and it felt like it was kind of like the St. Cloud thing. It felt like the right decision, and my agent at the time was like, you're going to start leaning one way, and then something's going to happen, and you're going to maybe lean another way. You just got to try to keep your head down and kind of follow your heart, and ended up, I ended up telling them and signing with the Bruins, and it felt right, and it's been awesome ever since, and I've had some great opportunities here, and it's been everything that I could have ever wanted.
Yeah, no, we're very glad to have you in the organization.
Yeah.
Are we, Kev? You're a part of the org? Just wondering.
Oh yeah,
just wondering.
I thought as a fan.
You're a big part of the org. That's good.
Yeah.
I guess so. This has to be other than that gold medal and obviously some big moments, but your first NHL goal against Chicago on the power play, kind of like what I think a lot of Bruins fans envision could be your bread and butter on the Bruins in the future, right? Is as a guy who can really bring that offensive side of things. What was that moment like?
Yeah, that was another crazy moment. You just kind of get numb, and you dream. Everybody says you dream about it, but you dream about it when you're a kid. I didn't dream about slipping the puck through in a slot and scoring. I probably had 100 different dreams of how you're going to score it, but just the guy. It's another thing. Like you pinch yourself, you're on the ice with Marshy, Berge, Taylor Hall, Pasta. I go and I score a goal, and they're all hugging me, and they're probably more fired up than I am, if that's even possible. But they're so happy for me, and it was just so much emotion. I had 3 buddies fly out, they didn't know I was playing or not. They came out that weekend, and they made it to the game. They got to see it too, so that was even a special thing, because they were going nuts in the stands, and it was kind of just a perfect night, and everything just it felt so right. And but I think I had an interview after the game or something. It was in the second period. I'm like, I got to keep playing hot. I scored my goal, but there's a lot of game left, and you got to win this game.
That's so hard. It's like you just have such a rush. You can't focus.
Yeah, I'm on the bench, and they're like, "Oh, you're up!" And I'm like, oh, I gotta play it. We have to finish this game. Like, God, but it was good. It was, you play with a lot more confidence, and yeah, it was just crazy. Another great milestone and awesome night.
So you mentioned the veteran teammates there, and their excitement for your first goal. How does the culture in the NHL locker room, whether it be while you were there during the season and training camp, how does that translate to Providence?
It's a lot different dynamic because everybody down. I mean, we have great, like, awesome guys in this locker room, but we have a lot of young guys that are still learning. I mean, I'm still learning, and we're all trying to make it up to play in the NHL, obviously. And those guys are there. They've been there for a while, so they kind of know all the ups and downs that comes throughout the season. How everything kind of runs, whether that's going on the road, what hotels they want to go to. It seems like it's a lot. It's organized up there, and they all been up there for so long, so it's like a lifestyle for them. Especially, that core group. They've been buddies for however many years. Bergey's been in the league for 18, 20 years, so it's a lot different when you got guys coming in from college or junior in Providence. But it's also fun to watch new guys coming in down here in Providence because they don't really know what to expect, and they're asking you for questions. I don't have all the answers, but I've been here for long enough where I can try to lead you into different ways and help you out. But it's definitely different. A lot more learning down here and a lot more knowledge up there.
What is it?
Sense.
What has it been like so far this year with having some veteran players like Mike Riley, Chris Wagner, and even Anton Strawman down there with you guys in Providence?
Yeah, it's been awesome. They could come down here and just kind of hang their head. Oh, I'm in the American League. I've been playing the NHL for so long, but it just goes to show those guys like what kind of people they are. Wags, Riles, and Strawman. They're all like, even in practice, they're working hard out there. They're not the last guy on the ice and the first one to go. Like, they're working on their game. They still love it, and they're knowledgeable, helping out the younger guys, including me, especially with the two D men. Me and Mikey pass pucks after the game or after practice or something, and he's passing me pucks for shooting, and Strauss is working on something. So it's kudos to them for coming down here and making the most of it. Obviously, circumstances, everybody wants to be up in the NHL, but these things happen, and they all come down with a great attitude and great work ethic too.
That's a great answer. I mean, it's awesome. It shows the character of those guys because you hear stories. I mean, I'm sure we all listen to interviews and hockey podcasts where not all guys are like that, right? So it's great.
Right.
I think the Bruins do this better than most organizations. If you're not a character guy, you're probably not in this organization. Like, I think from
definitely.
like top to bottom, every single person, like, they buy in and they have good character. And that's why the team's been good for our whole lives, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's
Right.
why. Like, it starts there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a big thing. One reason why I kind of pride myself and have good character. They showed me that they have it in their locker room, and they've had it for so many years. And like you said, it's why they've been so good for so long. And it's not a fluke. Not saying that like other teams that are great, don't have as good a character.
Oh, of course not.
Yeah,
no, that's not.
yeah.
I didn't mean that way at all. I was just
Right.
like, it's just they just like they do. Things are done the right way in the organization,
Yeah.
and
For
sure it is in a lot of other ones too.
consistently for so long. Yeah,
Yeah.
for so long too. So it's pretty impressive with that.
Yeah, so just to piggyback on all the veterans and everything, who's like your biggest mentor in the organization?
Oh, that's a good question. Before I played with Charlie at World Juniors, obviously, so I kind of texted him when I was talking with the Bruins, and he kind of gave me the lay of the land. I don't think he wanted to make my decision on him necessarily, so he gave me like his little spiel about it and gave me some good knowledge. So I've kind of always looked up to him, and he when I'm up there, he treats me like one of his buddies, and I mean all those guys do. So it's hard to pick one, but like a guy like Wags, Chris, when he came down last year, you don't really know what to expect. And now I didn't go home for Christmas, and I ended up going to his parents and his family's house for Christmas. So it was like little things like that. You get to know a guy that you don't really know whether or not like what kind of guy he is, and comes down, puts his head down, works, and then he's one of my buddies now. So that's something that was kind of cool that didn't really expect that was going to happen.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, you hear that about Wags for sure. What is your favorite part about pro hockey so far? Like, what do you look to and you're like, this is sick. This is the best. Like, I guess it doesn't even have to be about like hockey itself, like about the lifestyle or just like the travel, anything.
I mean, yeah, the travel is awesome. Going to different cities and playing in all these towns. But I think one of the things that I really liked was when I was in college, even growing up in high school, like the thought of doing this for a job I still don't even really understand it. Like I'll be playing a game and I'm literally like, this is work. This is my job. And a lot of guys in the locker room will say that, and it is a really cool thing. Like when you're in college, you're going to class. You have your hockey, which is predominantly what your goal is and stuff. But you still have to do all the homework and the group meetings with all the projects and stuff like that. And once you finally get over that and you're playing hockey for a living, it's like the best. It's the best thing in the world.
But I was at work today, and my boss was like talking about how as a kid I work in insurance. He's like, if you asked me at 10 years old, I said I wanted to work in insurance, and he was like, if they asked you at 10 years old, what would you have said you want to do? I'm like, a hockey player. I'm like, definitely not insurance.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been insurance.
Right.
I was like, but here we are, bud. I was like, but here we are.
Yeah, so exactly.
It's funny.
So let me dip into the fun questions. Who is the best dressed guy with the most swag in that locker room in Providence?
Ooh.
Mark and Johnny both said.
Whoa! Don't tell them.
All right.
This is how we see if they're in cahoots.
All right.
Yeah, I think Kincaid's got some good swag. He's got some good suits.
That's a new one.
I'm trying to think who else. Vinny's got a lot of.
There it is. That was
Vinny was.
I didn't want to give it to him though. Like, I don't want to give him that. My answer is Kincaid.
Perfect. I think Mark has the same thing. He was like, He's like, I don't want to give it to Vinny. He's like, but it probably is. But he's like,
Yeah, definitely. He's got some good swag. Puts on too much cologne though. That's definitely.
Ooh, that's a little too much Versace blue.
Yeah.
So, what are you looking forward to the most when you get the call to go back up to Boston?
I mean, it's always so refreshing going up there, and that those guys, they just like, doesn't matter who you are, when you go up there, they just welcome you in with open arms, and they're wondering how your life's been. Well, what have you been up to? Like, what's your family been up to? Like, how is it going down in Providence? And it makes you feel good. Like you don't think these guys really, I mean, obviously they care about you, but like they don't really ever forget. I haven't been up this year, but when I got back when I came over for main camp, it's like these guys, they just like, they never forget about you. Oh, how's it going? How's your summer? What'd you get up to? Like all this stuff. And it makes you feel good. And that's something that, is pretty awesome that, these guys that you don't even really know, they really do care about you.
It's awesome. I mean, we'll definitely be pulling for you to get back up there this year at some point for sure. We're kind of coming to the end of some of the stuff we have, but I have one I'd like to ask. What's your favorite place to go out to dinner in Providence? Like favorite spot in Providence?
So I live with 3 other guys, Matt Philippe, Nick Wolf, and Kyle Kaiser, and we live in Warwick. I'd say Providence, we like to go to Andino's, but I think my favorite spot is Circe in East Greenwich.
2 great spots. Andino's is probably, I used to work right off the hill, so I would go to lunch all the time there. And I'm like, this can't, like, just eating chicken parm 3 days a week cannot be good for me.
No.
I had to kick that back a little bit, but yeah, definitely. Andino's is by far the best spot on the hill.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then we got our little spots like 10 minutes away from our house in East Greenwich, the Circe there. It's awesome.
Perfect. Have you been to Siena?
What was that?
Have you been to Siena over in East Greenwich?
Once, I think. One time we went there.
Pretty good spot. There's one in Smithfield that's a little bit better, but definitely a Siena fan.
Yeah. I mean, all the food out here is ridiculous, so it's
there's some good, especially like Newport. Like if you go out to dinner in Newport, there's some good spots there too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I've got to ask it now since you brought up the food. Says nobody we've interviewed yet is from my neck of the woods or been out here. When you were in Cedar Rapids, where was your go-to spot?
Oh,
That was a
Way back.
while ago.
yeah, it was. So I don't know about my billets were like the best cooks ever, so I got super lucky. But there was a lunch spot. I think it was called like sport nutrition or something like that, or I forget what it was called, but we would go there and we'd get like these like shakes.
Connor's
They had
been nowhere named Sport Nutrition. I can just promise us all that.
It was like these good things. They had like pizza sandwiches that we'd always go and get, or like pancheros after a long bus trip. I remember just being like, "Oh man, this is the best." But there's not too much to pick from at Cedar Rapids.
Fair. That is very fair to say.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Connor's like often telling us about these great restaurants he's rolling up to in Cedar Rapids area.
Not
I
even
was lucky.
close.
My billets were awesome with food, and that was pretty sweet.
That is one, like, Rhode Island doesn't have the greatest of things, but there is great food.
Oh
That's
yeah,
the thing. Rhode Island does have food.
I crave it in the summer when I'm back
Yeah.
home. I'm like, man, it's the best.
Food and golf. Rhode Island is pretty good golf. Do you get to play golf anywhere over here, or not really because of the timing?
No, we do. Once it gets warmer out, we've been to. I actually got this. You ever been to Harbor Lights?
I have.
Yeah, so I got the hoodie on. We'll go to Foxwoods in
Nice, the
Connecticut.
Lake of Isles.
Yep.
Yep, that's a good
So
one.
we hit up a few of those. Not many. Triggs National.
Yeah, Triggs is good. There's some better courses around for sure. Like
Yeah.
Triggs is good. If you're going to Connecticut, like Connecticut National is easy to get out on. I mean, I'm sure you guys probably have a little more pull than I do to get out on some golf courses, but even there's a course a little bit south of Foxwoods, River Ridge. Usually it's a decent course, a little bit closer, something like that, but definitely a bunch of places to play over here.
Yeah, they're awesome. A lot of the courses out here are super nice, and Foxwoods is Lake of the Isles is up there. That's one of our spots that we like to get.
That's a long course. That's one thing.
Oh yeah,
it's long.
Yeah, need some power.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's kind of all we had. Do you guys have anything else?
No.
Oh. Thanks so much for your time, dude. We really appreciate it so much, and hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. I'll just let me know, and I'll be hopping back on for some more questions.
Definitely appreciate it.